Give peace a chance.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, and thank you for watching.
For the past few weeks, Central Square has played host to public property as that we have a tragedy of the commons issue, saying happy holidays, King.
Voluntary interactions where individuals are free to act so long as they don't initiate force.
This morning, we gather to remember Sergeant Tom Ball.
Hello, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Johnny Ray.
And I'm Allie Havens. In local news tonight, a local man has been sentenced to 7 years in state prison.
22-year-old Matthew Chenoweth pleaded guilty to criminal threatening with a deadly weapon in a plea deal at Cheshire Superior Court. He also pleaded guilty to criminal restraint.
The incident occurred at the Hannaford Supermarket on West Street in Keene. The victim, a 19-year-old woman, was in an aisle when Matthew came up behind her, held a knife to her throat, and demanded that she take her pants off.
Chenoweth told the police that he had no idea why he assaulted the woman and that he was overcome with the impulse to pull the knife on the woman. Following the incident, Matthew hid in the supermarket bathroom, hoping that he had hallucinated the incident.
Very strange. Continuing court drama surrounds activists.
We have an update from Cop Block co-founder Ademo Freeman.
Ademo was arrested last summer for using sidewalk chalk on the Manchester police station here in New Hampshire.
We've covered the Chalking 8 incident. More recently, there seemed to be an issue with the mail. Ademo appealed the guilty verdict for the resisting arrest charges to the Superior Court.
The court ended up mailing the letter to an address that does not exist, and it may land Ademo in some hot water.
Here's a video update put out by Ademo Freeman.
Hello everyone, it's Ademo. As some may know, I was arrested almost a year ago to the day in Manchester, New Hampshire for chalking the police.
ID, sir? You too? Any ID? Do you have any ID with you? You don't have any ID? Don't go away, sir. Throw off the order. Okay, under arrest. Come on. David's under arrest. Let's go.
Since the arrest, I've had a trial by judge in Manchester District Court. And at the conclusion of that trial, I was found guilty of criminal mischief and 2 counts of resisting arrest. My sentence was a $1,200 fine and 1 year in jail for each of my resisting arrest charges. The judge stayed $1,000 of my fine and 10 months of my jail time, noting that the resisting charge could be served concurrently, meaning that I'd serve 2 months now and the remaining 10 months if I broke any laws in the next 2 years. I appealed this decision to the Superior Court, where I would receive a jury trial. On April 18th, I was summoned for a final pretrial hearing. I knew this hearing was primarily to determine the trial date, and since I hadn't filed or objected to any motions, I sought to skip the long travel to Manchester. I called the district attorney, Kathleen Broderick, and left a message. She later called me back and said I was required by the court to attend and reminded me of the punishment I'd face for failure to appear. So I went to the hearing, and with the typical government efficiency, the court was unable to set a date for my trial while I was present. In fact, Judge Brown told me that the court would call me next week to set the date. 2 weeks passed and I had heard nothing from the court. Figuring it was business as usual for the court, I went upon my daily activities until a letter came in the mail.
The resisting, I had a hearing and they were going to call me and tell me when my jury selection would be and then send me a letter reflecting such phone call. I did not receive one, and now today is May 11th and I received this letter in the mail today telling me I have missed jury selection and that my bail has been forfeited and I must go to court. So I don't know what'll happen. There's probably a small chance possibly that there's a warrant out for my arrest. But this is the system. They did not call me. They did not write me a letter, and I'm hoping to make it till Monday in order to tell them that that was the case and get this reopened. You know, I've never missed any other court date. I've been begging for a trial in this shocking incident with the jury since it happened, and hopefully that'll still happen because that's absolutely what I want. I want to be able to speak the truth to a jury and not to some shady, unjust system of law. So just an update. Hopefully I'll stay free this weekend, and I'll update more as I can. Thanks.
Following the receipt of that letter, I went to the Superior Court in Manchester to investigate why I was never notified of my jury selection and trial. It turns out that those working to jail me sent the mail to an address that I've never had. Because even though my address has stayed the same all year, the state has continually been sending me mail to random past addresses of mine, and now one that doesn't even exist, according to Google Maps. To top it off, before taking the picture you just seen, I took the letter that was returned out of the envelope, and it bore the correct address at the top. Clear proof that this was nothing more than a clerical error. Having identified this error, I decided to file 2 motions, one with the Superior Court and the other with District. In the motions, I pointed out that the mail was sent to a place I've never lived and that I never have or would miss a trial or court date. Of course, the state objected to my motion. According to the judge's ruling, my motion was denied because of paragraphs 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, and 11. On top of looking at those, I'll be adding paragraph number 6 as it bears important facts as well. Not having read the objection when it arrived in the mail, which was sent to my correct address, I decided to see what the judge found so worthy that he would then deny my motion. Starting with paragraph 2 and 3, Catherine Broderick states, during the pendency of said appeal, June 6, 2011, Manchester District Court bail ordered remained in full force and effect. In pertinent part, the bail order required the defendant to advise the court in writing of all changes of address within 24 hours. The defendant signed this document acknowledging receipt of the release conditions and penalties. She goes on to say in paragraph 3, furthermore, the defendant signed a personal recognizance bond. The bond again reminded the defendant that he shall immediately notify any New Hampshire court in which this case is pending of any change of address. The defendant signed this document acknowledging receipt of this document. What Ms. Broderick fails to mention is that all these documents she states that I signed were done so under duress. I would have remained in a jail cell had I not signed their initial paperwork agreeing to their terms. And what kind of agreement is that? Sounds like something the mafia said to people. Sign this or else. Aside from this, Ms. Broderick negates both paragraphs 2 and 3 with her statement in paragraph 5, where she states, on January 30th, 2012, the defendant filed his appearance with the Hillsborough County Superior Court North and listed his address as 75 Levitt Street, Keene, New Hampshire. The defendant hereby notified the court of his change in address. So what's her complaint? I did what they asked. Of course, it was under duress because they threatened to take me to jail if I don't. But either way, I did change my address and I did it properly. Something she also failed to mention at this point is that my April 18th hearing was verbally relayed to me in the courtroom at my previous February hearing. Yet this is where the problems start to go severely wrong. According to paragraph 6, on or about February 28, 2012, Hillsborough County Superior Court North sent notice to all parties that the trial management conference was scheduled for April 18th at 1:30 p.m. Jury selection was scheduled for April 30th at 9 a.m. and jury trial was scheduled for the week of April 30th. All of these dates were contained on the same hearing notice. Well, this may be true, except there are 2 problems with this statement. One, I never got the February 28th packet, and Ms. Broderick points that out in paragraph 8, page 2. According to the court's file, the February 28th hearing notice was sent to the defendant's 75 Levitt Street address. However, it appears that the mail was returned because the defendant has changed his address without notifying the court.
Hi, went out on February 28th. Let me check your address.
Excuse me, what, you said it was the 28th?
Yes, went out February 28th.
Oh, okay.
What's your address?
It's 75 Leverett Street.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
Okay, but what went out the 28th?
A hearing notice.
Oh, okay, great. Do you know when that is, though? Just in case I don't get it.
4/18/12 at 1:30.
So it's 4/18/12/1:30, and that's just a hearing? It's not my actual trial?
Trial management conference is what it's called.
Okay.
All right, is that it?
Well, I was also wondering about my felony wiretapping charges.
Nonetheless, the clerk's officer resent the February 28th hearing notice to what appeared to be his new address located at 47 Schultz Street. According to the Hillsborough Superior Court files, the defendant's notice was returned. The second problem is that even if I had received the packet, I was still told on April 18th that no date can be given to me at the time. During my final trial management conference, something that Ms. Broderick states in paragraph 11, I was told that the court told the defendant that he would let the parties know by Monday, April 23rd, 2012, when the actual trial was scheduled. And with that, it's pretty clear to see. I was told of my April 18th court date while at my February court date. which is why I still knew about it without getting mail sent to me in between. What's unclear is why the court changed my address without me doing so personally. And if I had changed my address, why didn't she state it in her objection? Also, I'm currently facing 21 years in prison for a separate charge in the same courthouse, yet they have no problem mailing me their court paperwork. I'd also like to remind you of something I said earlier in the video, that the envelope which bear my wrong and incorrect address, the letter itself inside the envelope contained my correct 75 Leverett Street address. I would have taken a picture of that paperwork, but I was scolded by courtroom employees for removing paperwork from my file and was told that I could only photograph the outside envelope. Maybe something else Ms. Broderick can tell me is why the jury selection letter was mailed to the wrong address, but the letter informing me that I missed my trial was sent to the correct one. Right now it seems I'll have to wait for an appeal or for the court to do what's right. Maybe Ms. Broderick herself will do what's right after seeing this video. Or maybe you, the viewer, can call Kathleen and encourage her to do what's right. I know I'll be calling some people on Monday morning, and I thank you for your time. As always, I'm Ademo, and remember, badges, robes, or fancy degrees do not grant you extra rights.
The Porcupine Freedom Festival,
there we go. Okay, that's what Amanda was
or Porcfest, is a yearly event put on by the Free State Project at Rogers Campground in Lancaster, New Hampshire.
The event is an expose of all things liberty with many speakers, vendors, music, and panels, each touting their own version of liberty ideas.
This year the event takes place June 18th to the 24th, and the schedule is full of big names in the liberty movement.
Bob Murphy, Stefan Molyneux, and Adam Kokesh are just a few individuals scheduled to attend.
We have a Ridley report for you that talks about some of the logistics that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's what Amanda was doing a minute ago before I started running the camera to talk about her latest exciting project, which is always exciting to me too. Actually, could you take your sunglasses off?
I mean, then you'll see the red marks on my nose.
Oh, no, that's good, that's good. I can see your eyes, that's better. But you've got a new project in addition to today's litter pickup. You're going to try to do a litter pickup at Porcfest, like a change the whole litter regimen at Porcfest.
Well,
you know, to make it
Rogers
easier.
Campground is so overwhelmed by the number of people that show up that we kind of, you know, it can become disastrous, and there's been trouble, I guess, in the past. I was told with litter, I never stick around long enough. By then I'm ready to pack up and go home and take a real shower, but they've had trouble with people leaving trash around. So the Free State Project is putting some money aside, and I'm planning on organizing people so that we can control the trash and keep the bathrooms a little cleaner, because Rogers isn't really prepared staff-wise to clean the bathrooms as often as we'd like. Also, Rogers, for whatever reason, doesn't provide hand soap or paper towels, so we'll be providing that.
Yeah, it makes it difficult to do it yourself. Like my instinct normally when I go into one of those bathrooms is I'm going to do just a little bit of cleaning and walk out. But I can't if there's nothing there to clean with, you know. So I mean, I don't remember to bring a paper towel every time I go in.
Yeah. So there's going to be paper towels at Porcfest now, and hand soap, and we're going to have staff going in there and cleaning, sanitizing stuff more frequently, cleaning the floors more frequently, because the bathrooms get muddy. It's strange.
Right.
And Curtis told me that last year he was there for a couple of days after Porcfest ended, going around the campground picking up trash.
Oh, good for him.
On Sunday at Porcfest, anybody who wants to bring me a 13-gallon size bag full of trash from the campground is going to get $7. $7 for a 13-gallon bag. That's just a kitchen-sized bag.
Yeah.
And also, we're going to be distributing these full of sand around the campground. I've been collecting them at my work. I work at a retirement home, and they provide all of the food to their residents, and they go through many of these a week. They're piling up in my van because I don't really have a place. They don't stack very well, you know. So they're just anyway. We plan on spray painting them, making them look a little fancier. We're gonna have standing them there for cigarette butts, is my point.
Yeah.
So I hope that people that go to Porcfest will look for one of these. I hope that I can get enough of them for my job. I think I have like 40 already. But I hope that I can gather up enough of them that they can be within reach. Like if you're having a conversation with someone and your cigarette is done, don't dump it on the ground. You don't have to, you know, whatever people typically do. You don't have to keep them in your pocket. Whatever, I don't know, right? I hope that these will be within reach of most conversations all over the campground.
Well, what do you think about the thing I noticed at Porcfest was not that there was so much a lot of trash on the ground, it was that there was not enough room in the dumpsters to handle all the trash that people were taking there. Do you know of any kind of solution for that, or is this
Rogers should get more dumpsters. I have no solution for that.
Yeah.
But
well, I guess each of us could, if possible, maybe just take a little bit more home in our cars.
Yeah, that would be cool. Also, I know at Porcfest there's going to be an etiquette meeting. Not meeting, but like a presentation, and there's going to be some pamphlets in the registration bags, you know, asking people to control their trash a little more. And the odd thing about how trashy, I guess, Porcfest gets, the odd thing is that when you rent a site with Rogers, part of the agreement is that you are obligated to leave your site clean when you leave. And Rogers will charge you, the renter, a fee to clean up your site for you. But I guess it's kind of muddy now because the Free State project is essentially the renter of the entire campground. So it's troubling. Rogers doesn't seem to want to decide whether they want to charge the individual a fee or whether they want to charge the Free State project a fee. But you know, I know that the majority of Free Staters want to behave responsibly. They have concern for other people around them. They will put their trash in the trash can and not on the ground. You know, I know that last year I made a point to clean up my site. I checked for cigarette butts in the grass and everything, but not everyone is like that. So
yeah.
So we want to fix it up, make it nice. The goal is to leave Rogers cleaner than when we showed up.
Well, now this is not the only thing that's actually changing and advancing. I'm actually trying to advance my regimen at Porcfest too, and I'm going to be, with the lack of technology at Porcfest, I'm going to be trying to do like a print version of the Ridley Report. So it won't be like, I'm not going to distribute it. I'm just going to put it up on the bulletin board. So just look for the little Ridleys on the bulletin board. I'm going to have my picture there, and then it'll be a speech balloon coming out of my head, and I'll have some news, you know. Because there's always news at Porcfest.
It has ice cream at site number 4. That'll
be the ad.
Oh.
When people buy ads, they'll sound like
newsy,
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Amanda's running out of ice cream. Hurry up.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, so in my case, just look for you go to the office at Porcupine Fest, right outside the office. That's where the bulletin board already is, and I'll probably add another bulletin board if they let me, and there'll be really news stuff. So.
So today we're picking up litter in the park on the west side of Manchester.
Our next guest is a local entrepreneur and one of the food vendors at this coming Porcfest.
Welcome to the show, Mandrik.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
So what have you been up to leading up to Porcfest? Like what has been the game plan for you in vending?
Oh, the game plan. Well, I operate a business called Georgia's Famous Baklava, and it's an online business where I sell baklava on the internet. And basically, every Porcfest we set up a stand. Me and my partner, we set up a food stand, and we make gyros, and we make all kinds of other sandwiches, and it's just a lot of prep work leading up to it. And just lately, we've been making the gyro meat. We're going to sell all kinds of different foods like hamburgers, and we have what's called a train wreck.
Yeah, give me some mouth-watering.
Well, let me interrupt just for a second.
Sure.
Oh.
Gyros. It's not heroes, because I thought it was heroes.
It's actually gyro, the Greek way to say it, but you can just call it gyro. It's fine.
You just call it what
I don't care
what people understand. They know what you mean when
right.
you say that. The train wreck?
The train wreck, yes. This is a sandwich I invented last year, and it was a huge hit. Basically, the internet's obsessed with bacon, so and bacon weaving. You know, it's kind of like you make like a little blanket out of bacon, raw bacon, and bake it. So I took 10 pieces of bacon and weaved it into a 5x5 grid, and then when we bake that, we get rid of the pita bread, and we put the gyro meat right on there with the toppings, the sauce, and everything, and that's the train wreck.
So you're more like an architect than a cook.
Right, exactly. So just the other day, we've already purchased 180 pounds of bacon, and made 320 weaves with it.
How long did that take you?
The first day I did it by myself. I did 45 pounds, and that took me probably about 5 hours. And then we did 135 pounds in a day, my partner and I, and my business partner and I. And it took us like 11, 12 hours. It was insane.
Wow, I think we have a picture of him making the bacon, and then him with the 180 pounds of bacon. Do you have that picture?
This is me just kind of standing there. Yeah, there we go. I got a couple weaves there ready to go in the oven, and that we have a restaurant convection oven. As you can see,
nice.
It's pretty sweet. You can do 8 at a time. That's actually, I'm making some gyro meat right there. And
there you go.
It's all the bacon weaves. There's actually 20 in per stack.
Very suspicious.
Right. It was a little bit of a kind of like.
Are you putting those in the trunk, like on the way?
No.
Mandrik,
I'm sure that's bacon.
Mandrik, a couple of years ago, you just sort of crashed onto the scene as far as I knew.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about what was happening before that and where you were and how where your love for baklava came from, that sort of thing.
Sure. Well, I've always enjoyed cooking. I have a big Greek family, and I grew up just around food and different things, and just for me it was just a passion. I grew up in a restaurant as well. My father owned a restaurant, and
my father's in the food business too. It's incredibly hard work.
It is. Actually, he just retired yesterday. They just sold his restaurant from since '75, so it's pretty crazy.
Good news or
yeah, it's
bad?
great. No, it's great news. He finally gets to retire, get a break after a million years. But anyway, so I grew up in the restaurant business, and I've always loved cooking. I didn't like cooking in a restaurant so much. It's very stressful. It's a lot of work. For me, it's more fun. I enjoy cooking for people, the friends, and so it's a way of showing affection. Really, it's a lot of fun, and I love it. And so being able to run a stand at something like Porcfest is great because I basically have a great time around friends, and it's still business and pays the bills. So it's the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah, I came to Porcfest last year, and I was really hungry one breakfast, and I think I was still vegetarian at the time, and I remember asking for some omelet or something, and it was like very quick and everything, and you just looked like a natural, your apron and your hat.
Yeah, it's cooking for me. I mean, speed's very important when you're serving food in a restaurant or at festivals like this, and we're outside, but we have professional equipment. As you saw in that one picture, I mean, we have a restaurant convection oven. We don't mess around in our house. So.
Are you worried about running out of supplies at all?
We have everything mapped out. We run out of things. We'll make trips to Manchester and take care of things. We're not really sweating it too much. And we've run out in the prior years by the end of the festival, but we've twice as much bacon this year. We've handmade gyro meat. We're on the ball this year. We're really getting things done.
So that sounds like a ton of work. Are you going to be able to make it to any of the events? Like what events are you definitely going to go to?
Well, the Porcfest, I mean, it's a pretty big area, but they have the main pavilion where most of the events are shown, are had, the big events. And I know in the video they showed some people in the bands playing in the pavilion. So we'll be in there cooking. So I mean, we'll get to see things happening, but I mean, that's it. I mean, it's work for me. Porcfest is a job in a way, but it's a fun job, so.
Going back to your online baklava sales, does baklava lend itself to shipping from place to place? And how far away have you sent?
I've sent it. I've had people send it to APOs, like military bases in Germany and Afghanistan, and it's held up just fine. People got it and they loved it. So I've done that before, but it goes around the country.
Now, were these people on the military bases, were they liberty lovers?
I have no idea. I mean,
you market to everyone.
Well, right. It's famous baklava, so it's not exclusive to political orientation.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. I didn't have the word famous until later. That's what people ask me. How was it famous before you sold it?
No, I think that's a good selling point. If something's famous, that means that the market's spoken, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually been baking baklava since I was 13, so it was famous amongst my friends. So that's kind of where I got it from. But yeah.
That's awesome. What about location at Porcfest? Did you guys get like a prime spot to?
Yeah, like we're in the pavilion.
You're in the pavilion, so then people will constantly be around, and so I think you guys will do really well this year.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I mean, we invest a lot of time and money into it, and like I said, I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. I mean, we have a great time there. I mean, we get to cook for friends. That's really how it is. Thousands of people, some people there, and just really enjoy it.
Porcfest is a fantastic time.
Yeah.
I went in 2008, and there was a girl there named Whitney. And
it was before my time. Go ahead.
Me and this guy named Keith were both sort of competing for her affections. We drove all over the state. We went to the coast. We went to Manchester. And she was, she was one of these gals who likes to take her clothes off. neither one of us. She's split without
and
either
just,
Keith.
just so the viewers know, you actually shower with clothing on. You're not one of those guys that likes to take clothing off at all, right?
Indeed, I take my clothes off in the shower.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
So she went off to. She said she was going to go to Europe to work at losing her citizenship, and that's just one of the crazy kinds of people that you can meet at Porcfest and why it's such a great time.
Hey, I don't know what's the big deal about expatriating. I mean, isn't that when you complain about this political system, people tell you if you don't like it, then leave.
I love how I'm so far away. Look, it's like you guys just have to keep me distant. I'm so not even paying attention. No, it's great.
You probably just didn't want to be like right here. It's a little.
You don't know that. You didn't ask.
But yeah, that was 4 years ago, and as far as I know, she never came back.
That's crazy.
Well, there are lots of people at Porcfest that come back year after year. I mean, every time, last year when I was there, it seemed like, of the new people, there's a large group of new people, but wouldn't you say it's mostly people that have been to Porcfest before?
Oh yeah, you definitely see a lot of familiar faces. I mean, a lot of new people that I've talked to online. It's maybe
you have
the
like
first year.
Porcfest friends.
Right, but you know, I haven't met Whitney. Whitney, come on back, please. We need you.
Please come back, Whitney.
We miss you. We want to make sure you're okay, most importantly. So.
Tell us more. Tell us about the Mandrik experience, some of the people that you've met at Porcfest.
I meet a lot of people, and it's tough. Like Ali said, I cook fast, and we have a show we do when we're working. That's kind of how we do it.
I want to know about your menu, really, because I'm going to be there, and I know that I'm going to be looking at anyway, but can you sort of explain like some of the high points of the menu, or some of the things that you're really excited about people ordering?
Yeah, well, I mean, the train wreck is the sandwich. I mean, that's so
the
much.
main one?
I love it, yeah. But like, we're going to have hamburgers this year, cheeseburgers, which doesn't sound special, but it's the way we season them, they're just amazingly good. So we're actually working on that. And like I said, we have our gyros. I also do it's called a Greek grilled cheese, which is the pita bread, and there's this Greek cheese called it's a sheep's milk cheese called kefalotiri, which if you ever go to a Greek restaurant, it's a cheese where they light it on fire when they serve it. It's as an appetizer, and it's delicious. It's a really great flavor. So we make a sandwich with that. We bought 60 pounds of this cheese, literally just rolling them around into they're huge.
So you really like to use high quality ingredients, from what I understand. So how do you balance that with wanting to also have an affordable product?
Briefly, 10 seconds.
Just, I don't know, bite off the back of a truck. I don't know. That's my 10-second answer, but it's not true.
Okay.
Thank you for watching
Secret.
this episode of Free Keene TV. Next week's show will be pre-taped, as some of the crew will be at Porcfest. Please send any emails to tv@freekeene.com. I'm Allie Havens. And I'm Johnny Ray, looking forward to tomorrow.